right. Audience research. I think this is really important. I think that this is one of the most neglected chores.
Yeah.
How do you get to know who your audience is?
So many writers will tend to write in genres that they're already familiar with. So many writers will neglect this step because they're like, well, I'm already a reader. I already know everything there is to know about people that read in this genre. And that's not the case. That's not the case at all. So you really want to do your research on social media and good old Google and Amazon or Google Play Books or Barnes Noble, wherever really you're looking. And this can be as simple as going in the search bar and say, I write in superheroes. So I'm going to say, superhero books. And that will give me a ton of information. I can see what people are posting about. I can see what trends are happening. I can see, what keywords are being brought up as often. And doing something as simple as that will change your whole perspective on what people are expecting right now. And I'm not saying that that's something you had to work into your book, but it's something to keep in mind when you are creating this, that if you're taking 10 steps back from where the genre is, you need to address that. If you're going way in the past with something that's already been done and people have moved on, you need to address that in your marketing. Like, hey, I know this hasn't happened in such a long time, but now I'm exploring superheroes that first find out their powers. Like, how many times has that been done? But simple searches like that is gonna teach you how you're gonna present this to your target audience and how you're gonna reach them and what promotions they're responding to from other people. And it all plays into your marketing and everything that you're gonna do from then on. And doing this, I feel like, through every step of your journey, whether you haven't started your book yet, you're in the middle of writing your book, you're editing it, you just want to keep checking that and keep doing that target audience research, because it's just going to keep you informed so that when you're ready to do a book launch, you are very prepared and you know that you're at least going to get some people rather than no people.
I know some PR firms do what's called they craft what's called personas, and so they'll be like, well, my target audience is female, age 18 to 35. She wants to be a writer, but she also works as a barista.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people do that in depth too. I actually read a book recently about marketing because it's still something I struggle with. By Redzi, they have like do blogs and they do courses, and that's actually where I format my book through for free. And it was a free book on Amazon, so I was like, oh yeah, sure, might as well look it up and see. And in there, they said you want to craft this persona of a person. You want to talk about their target price range they'd be willing to spend on a book, what their age would be, um, all that kind of stuff. What genres they'd be reading, and similar to this. So I definitely, yeah, like almost making a profile for your target audience. That way, also when you're making these promotions and when you're writing your description, like it plays into everything that you're going to be doing from then on.
Yeah, that's one of the things I tend to overhear her, because Jan works from home and she works for a PR firm.
Mm-hmm.
And I overhear her on her calls all the time with authors and the marketing people. And they're always talking about the personas. And they're doing it in that very language. And it's really interesting because it's not something I would have ever thought to put effort behind.
Yeah, and I feel like that's something too that when you're self-publishing, you choose self-publish over traditional publishing, that's something you have to keep in mind, that yeah, even though you're taking on a different route, traditional publishing, a lot of that stuff crosses into what you're doing. You're just doing it without so many, as they call it, gatekeepers in the way that are,
That's what I
you
call
know,
them.
getting you to the finish line. So a lot of that stuff coincides.
Yeah. Well, with the thing that whether you're going through traditional publishing or not, I think the key here is to treat it always like an entrepreneurial endeavor. Every book is an entrepreneurial endeavor. Every film is an entrepreneurial endeavor, because I'm also going to be pushing this to filmmakers too, because it's something that they're also not doing and should be doing.
Yeah.
And if you treat every project like an entrepreneurial endeavor as well as your own personal brand, then it'll start to make sense why it's a lot of master's degrees you're going to have to earn without the certificate.
For sure. And I feel like too, a lot of writers don't consider everything that they're building towards as a brand. And technically you want to think of it that way because people that are going to come back, like recurring readers or your audience, are going to be expecting something when they come back to what you're writing or your brand per se.